Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Cuccioli, and I had a sort of unique relationship with Kevin. He came to my attention very early on in my career because we had some mutual friends, one of which was Charles Randolph Wright, who you all know. And Charles and a couple of other friends of ours, Meredith and Joel, would talk about Kevin quite a lot to me and sing his praises and also say, Bob, you guys are so much alike personalities, and you've got to work with him. You would love him. And ever since, back then when I first heard this, back in the early 90s, I looked forward to that time when I actually got to meet Kevin and get to work with him. But when you are classified by the powers that be as a leading man, you rarely, if ever, get to work with other leading men. Unless it's the occasional benefit or concert, or every 10 years or so when 1776 rolls around. or the odd social occasion, or in the audition waiting room, where you're all gathered and you use that time to pretty much greet each other, catch up, and wish each other well on the audition, and then that's it. And that's pretty much how I finally got to meet Kevin, got to know him a little bit. Now, there's also one other opportunity that may crop up, and that is if one of you, who happens to be pretty well known for a certain show and certain role, is asked to direct a production of said show and cast another leading man in the role that you are well known for. And that's when the cornerstone of my relationship with Kevin actually was laid. And the opportunity finally presented itself. In 2002, I was asked to direct a production of Jekyll and Hyde for the Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera. Now, it's an interesting experience to have created a role, to have played it, to have lived in it for 4 years, and then have to cast somebody else in that role. Now, obviously, Jekyll and Hyde are roles that are very close to me and very deep in my heart. And honestly, it's like handing your baby off to someone else to care for and to nurture and to let it grow. I needed someone who I felt I could trust with it. Someone to give it the respect, and I actually do need my glasses, to give it the respect and do it the justice that I felt it deserved. Someone with incredible passion, serious commitment, a really great singer and actor, someone who could actually fill the stage at the Benham Center, which is enormous, with their persona and talent, and someone with a personality I could work with. And also, very important, someone with a really great sense of humor. Piece of cake, right? Well, when Kevin walked into the audition, and he had it all. And as you can see from some of the clips, he wasn't afraid to throw himself quite literally into a role, both vocally, emotionally, and physically. He was fearless. He sang and acted the crap out of the thing, and I knew without any reservation that he was the one I wanted. And so the journey began. And when you're doing summer stock, as many of you know, you basically have 8 days to put a show up. That includes tech. Now, I had 4 weeks of rehearsal to learn this role, and Kevin had 8 days. And he came in pretty much with everything under his belt. And he knew what he wanted to do, he had clear ideas, but he also allowed himself to rely on me to give him whatever kernels of knowledge I could possibly give him from all my experience. And as my friends suggested all those years ago, we were very like personalities. And that can go one of two ways. Either you want to strangle one another, or you develop a great respect and trust for one another. And thankfully, the latter prevailed, and we developed a really great camaraderie and partnership in crafting the role. And as all of you know, and it's been said a number of times, Kevin had a really goofy sense of humor. He was self-deprecating at times, but always wickedly sharp and quick and intelligent. And through those days, even as intense as the work was, we laughed a lot. And I was reminded of a certain time during tech when we were doing a transition from the Jekyll study to the lab scene. And it's a very complicated transition. And we needed to stop because we needed to work on and finesse some things. And it was the first time Kevin had seen the lab table and the whole lab scene. So while we were working on the technical aspects of it, the lighting and whatever, he asked, can I play with the props and, you know, rearrange them? And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And we continued with our work. And as Kevin would do, as the actor, he really worked on rearranging things for what he needed. But then the imp showed up. And a monologue started, which Kevin began doing a riff on the Home Shopping Network. And he began pricing all the test tubes and the syringes and the jars and everything. And we were long done with what we needed to work on, but he had us laughing, the crew, the cast, everybody at the tech table. And even though we were done, I felt, I just have to see where this goes. And that was a mistake. Because instead of just petering out, because of him losing ideas, it just escalated. And he began selling the piece that was hanging over above and the lab table itself, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I finally had to get on the microphone and say, Kevin, Kevin, come back, let's get back to the show. And then, like a light switch, he was able to like switch it back, and he got right back to work again. So, yeah, he was incredibly funny, and he was a fierce actor, and he was passionate and committed to his craft, and a natural leader who led by example. He would always set the bar high, and everybody would meet him there. And this is something that really impressed me. Even though he was the leading man, he was the title character of the play. Every time he stepped foot on stage, he was just another actor in the scene, playing the scene with other actors on the stage. There was just no ego involved. And he was the perfect gentleman. He was the ultimate partner on stage and off and in the rehearsal room. The entire cast and crew adored him, as did I. And it was because of this great working relationship he and I had, and the brilliance in the role, obviously, that I cast him in future productions just about every time he could or wanted to do the role. We did it in Houston, then back again in Pittsburgh just this past 2010. It was his immense talent, coupled with all the qualities that I have mentioned and everybody else previously has mentioned, that made him a star here on earth. And every time he took the stage, his light shone brightly, right up to the heavens. And now as his star shines down on earth, I will look up with the same admiration and love and respect and feel incredible gratitude that I was given the gift of working with him and to be his friend. Thank you.